Welcome everyone. Welcome back if you've been here before. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. I am Wendy Blum-Weiss and I'm a life and business strategist. And this is my new series, new podcast. I'm calling it a video podcast, Redefine Yourself During Times of Uncertainty, where I bring on guests in the areas of personal growth, entrepreneurship, and empowerment. And we're going through very unusual times. And, there's so much change going on, whether we're changing our career, whether we're launching a passion project, or whether we just want to grow as a person overall. So I'm so excited that today we are going to be talking about everything to do with podcasting, what to do, what not to do. And I'm not saying that I'm an expert because I just started the podcast here on YouTube. This is episode number, I don't know what number it is, but it's like number 7 or 8. And so I'm new to podcasting, but I have a special guest on today that started her podcast 2 years ago. So she's going to share what she has learned, and it's all an experiment anyway. So now's a really, really good time if you're thinking about it, but maybe you can take away some tips so that you can go in, if you are going to start a podcast, empowered. So I have the great honor to introduce my guest. Her name is Claire Faithfull, and that is her last name. She's got an amazing last name. You're gonna notice her accent because she grew up, I don't know how many years, but outside of London. So we'll ask a little bit more about that. But Claire she has such a well-rounded background. She started an empowerment group for women called Be a Smart Woman. That is the name of her podcast. And she's a gifted makeup artist, knows everything there is about. She's my go-to for skincare and how to make a beautiful floral arrangement or make your house feel really special, to make a woman feel really special. So welcome, Claire. So happy to have you here.
Oh my God. Wow. What a wonderful introduction. Thank you. I'm really happy to be here. It's a gift. It really is. So yeah, I mean, I started a podcast about a year and a half ago, and it was a journey of, I had a passion, I had a dream. The dream was to connect women together with other fabulous women. And I thought, what better way? It was just about the time when I was hearing a podcast or the new latest great thing. And I thought, okay, you know what? Challenge Claire, you're going to create a podcast, and you're going to learn whatever you have to do. So I reached out to lots of people. I learned, got my first microphone, and just started. And my whole purpose of it was women connecting with women. In other words, wonderful women that have, I guess what I believe is every woman has, there's not one of us out there that does not have a story and some deep wisdom inside that we're probably desperate to share. And so I thought, well, let me interview as many different women as I possibly can to share their stories. And in the process, sharing my story too. So we're coming together, we're supporting each other. Just like we're doing today, we're supporting each other as women. And you're having me on your show. And that's all it takes. It's simple little steps. That's what I did. I just started, and sorry, Wendy.
I love that. I love that it's about collaboration, not competition, collaboration. And what would you say for someone that is thinking about launching a podcast that they haven't launched yet? What would be like the number one insight or mistake or something to consider before launching?
Okay, well, I think the first thing you have to do is you need to have the right equipment. And it doesn't have to be complicated. I mean, it really doesn't. I mean, you see all these people with their big microphones and all the rest of it, but literally there's some little recorders out there that you can get. They will sit just in front of you. They're about this big. And I got one of them, and it was so easy. So you have to find a nice space to record, so there's not too much echo, but honestly, it's pretty simple. And you just sit with the person you want to interview, and I would put my little microphone up on a stool, and we would sit opposite each other and we'd just talk. and we would just start there. And
You said something that was really interesting and really insightful about the room that you're in, that it's filled with books. Can you share about
yeah,
how you
well,
choose the room?
I had there's a gentleman that I knew who was I guess a teacher in doing podcasts, and he came to my house one day, not for me specifically, but he came into my office, which is like a little library slash office, and it has carpet and all these books everywhere. And he went, "Oh my God, this is a perfect place to record because you don't get all the echo. It's a very, they call it like a very grounded sound." So I just kind of knew as much as possible I would have people come here. But then I've also gone to other people's homes. Sometimes you go to someone's home and I just put the recorder on their dining room table and we've recorded. I mean, I don't think we need to have too many rules. I think it's just about going for it. Like if you really want to do a podcast, my advice is just go for it. And there's lots of stuff. We always say Google can be your best friend. Just Google. There's lots of information on how to do it. You don't have to spend tons of money on hiring people and joining all these clubs. Honestly, you can really find it out. Just, talk to your friends, get people to help you. And it's really not that hard.
Uh,
I mean, if I
we'll,
can do it,
we'll link, we'll
anyone can
link
do it.
below the link to your microphone and your equipment. And then I started this podcast just from Zoom and using the application from Zoom that you can go live on Facebook or live on YouTube. And that's what we're doing here. We're going live on YouTube. So there's your format of sitting in front of your guest or going to their home or doing it on Zoom or doing it on, we just did one on Instagram Live. We did a live. That wasn't really a podcast. It wasn't like technically a podcast, but it's getting comfortable, right? Were you initially comfortable in front of the camera?
Um, yeah, actually, because I grew up, because my profession was a makeup artist and I worked in the film business and the TV industry. While I was behind the camera, I was working with so many different actors and actresses and helping them, to get in front of the camera for their whatever character they were playing through the makeup and the hair that I was doing, that I think I just feel comfortable in front of a camera. So honestly, when my first podcast, I was definitely, my friend interviewed me. So I was a little bit nervous because it was just, oh my God, I've never done this before. So
Yeah.
yes, I was. It was
Yeah.
yeah. Of course, we're It would be. I think it's normal to feel nervous. I think it's normal to have doubts or where we question ourselves. Are we any good? Are we going to be good? Are we going to look good? But I think by the time I got to my second podcast, I started to feel comfortable. Um, and then I just realized it's just chatting. And I went, oh, I love to chat. So this is easy. I'll just chat. I mean, I think moving to doing things live, that was probably a little bit more daunting because, it's especially when you can see yourself, because you're like, don't look at yourself. I'm not looking at myself. I'm focusing on you. Like,
And where do you look? Like you look in the lens. Like where do you look? Like do you look at your chest?
exactly.
Do you look at the lens?
So
Do you look at this
when
guy?
we
Like
when we did the Instagram live, that was the first for me. Actually, this is a first. I have never done like a video podcast before. I think it's a great idea because I think people, when they see you, it feels more real. It feels more interactive. So I'm really enjoying this. Is my first doing a
oh,
video
I love
podcast.
that. I feel like I'm there with you in your home, and I feel like everyone who's watching is there in your library and like sitting here, like the sitting in a chair,
Right.
and we're having a conversation. And this is just really being like real and raw, and just like we're not saying that we have it all figured out, but perhaps one or two insights, and then marry them all together with what you already know, what you've already researched, and then just, I don't know, test it out. I think right now that there's a forgivability factor that exists more so than any other time in history, because everybody's just like experimenting. So if you're thinking about it, you could just test it. And then you actually have decided to pivot. So you've gone another direction. So you batched a lot of your podcasts. So can you talk about that, the
Yeah.
batching and splitting?
Okay, so this is what, for me, this is what happened. I started with doing podcasts, and I love podcasts. I think they're great. But because I started from zero. So if you think about Facebook and Instagram, it was zero. Like, I just went in and created the account, and I had no followers. I didn't even know how to get a follower. But anyway, but I
In
started.
2018. Now this is so I want everybody to have like a feel for the time. So this was
This
2018. You were
was
doing.
August. I started August the 5th,
Okay.
2018. I had a girlfriend that came and helped me set the basic stuff up, which is always good. If you've got a girlfriend out there, or you know someone that's a little bit younger and more techie, or because we all have different skill sets, you know, ask for advice, get help. And that's what I did. And that's my thing with women. We all need to help each other. So I had a girlfriend that was great at this stuff. And she came and spent a few days in my home helping me. She helped me set up an Instagram account. She helped me set up a Facebook account. She helped me because I didn't know how to do this. But now I feel like, no, I've still got things I'm learning, but now I understand. I mean, there was a
Yeah.
time when I didn't even know how to post a picture on Instagram. And
And it's frustrating.
it
You're
was
trying to
like,
do
oh
it.
my God.
If you don't know what to
But
press,
now,
what
yeah.
it's so frustrating.
But I tell you what, this is the thing, and I haven't quite answered your question yet about the podcast, but the one thing I want to share with everyone is just don't give up. Stick with it, because there are moments where you want to pull your hair out and you're like, why am I doing this? Because
Oh,
it
yeah.
feels challenging. But if we can get through these little challenges, I'm telling you, it's like the brain works, and we just start putting one piece together and the next piece together, and all of a sudden you know how to do a video, you know how to do a podcast, you know how to have it edited, you know how to get it out there. And it's I call it magic, but the magic comes with the consistency of sticking with it. Like, it's like molasses, but you just keep with it. And that's what I did. And now
How
um
many podcasts did you record? And how many
I've
did you do at one
I've
time?
probably recorded over 20 podcasts, which in the big picture is not a lot. But what happened was, I think I put about 10 out, but I realized that because I was so new, I was putting out these podcasts. They were going out on YouTube. They were showing up on my Facebook, I think. And we would have little snippets on Instagram.
Mhm.
So, but
Yeah.
I wasn't being seen. It wasn't really being seen because um, I just didn't have a big following. And I realized that, when you're really starting out, I'm not saying to anyone, don't do it, because I do believe that if you keep going with it, I mean, I just decided, actually, it was when you came to my house last summer, and you helped me do a flower video. And I had never done that before. I always feel like, Wendy, I have my first with you. It's like, you're my first. um,
Perfect. Well, let's do it. I saw you and I was like, you're so gifted. Like, you make the most beautiful floral arrangements we have. And we were doing photography. Lisa was there and she's an amazing photographer. We'll put her link below as well. And it's like, why not? We're doing pictures already. You already have hair and makeup. Let me video you. Let's like put this up. Like, let's get this on YouTube. And that way we can take one thing and we can use it in many different ways on many different platforms. And your video was great, and I love that we created that.
and I think that is exactly what you just said, that you said, let's do one video. I didn't even think that anyone would be interested in seeing my flower arrangements. I just hadn't clued in. I was so geared into my podcast. And then that gave me another, and what happened was, I put this video out, and and all of a sudden I started getting more engagements in, and more, as my followers started to grow. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. So then I just started putting a few more like some recipes out and some different things that I just did in my own personal life.
Can I say something for a second? I
Yes.
must. I must. I'm like jumping out of my skin. Okay. Claire's recipes are amazing. I'm telling you, not only do they look visually beautiful on social media, but they taste amazing. And she shares her recipes on her website, which is Be a Smart Woman. I'll link it below. But they look gorgeous and they taste even better. So I have to say that about your floor arrangements, about like your knack. And I went home and then I started experimenting and doing the same thing. Like the way you like experiment doing a podcast, you experiment in the kitchen. And I think it's just that, let me give it a whirl kind of attitude and figure that done is better than perfect. And at least I'm trying. And I just commend you so much that you went into podcasting so early. That's very cool.
Yeah, and I still plan to do more podcasts. It's not that I stopped. I just went, let's take a pause. This is for me, and let me experiment with this new information I'm learning, and let me start sharing the things that I do, like I just do normally. Like I don't think that what I do is that special, but other people come, oh my God, I can't believe you do this. I can't believe you do that. And this is some advice I'd like to give. And again, it takes me back to, as women, we all have a gift. So it's like, I thought my gift was just, it wasn't anything. I didn't think it was that special because it's what I did. It was, as one of my dear friends said to me, what we're meant to really do in the world is kind of like cleaning your teeth. It's that easy. It's something you're gifted with. And we all have that. And then we have this incredible world of social media and the way we can share our information. It is
Yeah.
infinite. It's amazing, especially since the virus, which is, you know, I guess one of the positives of a negative situation for us all as a community and as a global world, is that we're all suddenly learning that there's all these new ways we can communicate. So I just say go for it. If you have a passion or you just have something you think super easy and you're good at it, why don't you just consider that maybe there's somebody else out there that wants to know what you know how to do really well, and just share it. Just like a little video we're doing here, or take a picture, just put it out, create a little page. I've talked to a few women lately and who I said, just create a professional page on Instagram. Just start there and post something that means something to you. Just start one picture at a
The
time.
leaning in, like you're not, like Rome wasn't built in a day. Like you
Exactly.
take one small step, like making one post, make one video, like trying it out. And the first five of them, well, your first one is going to be a disaster. The first one,
Well,
like the first one is just going to be, it's all learning. But then after 5 times, and then after 10 times, and after 20 times, and you get better and better, you find out, like, this equipment I could do, I could get something better, I could get it, another resource, or I learned, for me, like even learning, I had started using Zoom and I've moved a lot of my coaching programs online, which I just love. And then to lo and behold that you can, through Zoom, that you can actually incorporate and integrate it onto YouTube and integrate it onto Facebook, is just like a powerful, like it's you do it once and you can use it multi-purpose ways. So, and you can make your podcast anything you want. You can start it anytime you want.
and honestly, one of the things I'm seeing here with the podcast, actually, this way is easier than actually just getting the Zoom, the little recorder, which I started in, because it's already set up within the computer system. So you don't, like when I record, I have to then download it into my computer. And then I
And
have
then upload it, and then you have to upload it, and
to
this
upload it.
way everything's already uploaded. And then there's this feature on YouTube, which is video, it's YouTube editor, and you go in once your video is already on YouTube. I'm going to do a video on this in the future, like how to do this, because I used to say that I wasn't techie at all, and because I work with so many clients and launching their business, I've been wanting to help them and support them. So I'm learning on my, I'm learning on the side and figuring it out because I'm insanely curious and I actually love this stuff, and have been able to figure out the technology piece, and it's doable. I mean, it's daunting at first, but if you just take it down and chunk it all the way down and learn one new thing at a time to get somebody for sure that knows. Otherwise, you're gonna like be in la la land trying to figure out what button to press. But once you kind of know where to point the mouse and what to press, like, for sure. Oh my goodness. Okay, so give us a couple names of your podcasts, a couple of your topics.
Oh, okay. Well, I've talked about the power of self-love. That was actually one of my most successful podcasts. I think people love to talk about love and loving yourself. And I did a couple of podcasts about fermented foods and healing your gut. That was with a lady that her journey of how she started making her own fermented foods. That was really fun. And, you know, it's so it can be all extremes. I've talked about with just more emotional stuff about relationships with your significant other. We've done podcasts on
And you and your husband have a beautiful relationship.
yeah,
So
but
that's inspiring too.
yeah, and that is inspiring. But I will tell everyone that yes, I have a great relationship with my husband, but we have worked on it and we've been really
Yes, you have.
that.
Yeah.
So
And you talk.
that's a whole nother topic unto itself, maybe for another day. Relationships is a huge topic, and I've done a lot of work in that area. So
You know what would be fun? I'm just going to throw it out there. Maybe you guys, if this sounds interesting to you as well, if you share on the comments section, like, yes, we'd be interested in that, or not, maybe not so much, is to do a podcast with you and Jacob, and then Harry and I, and then so we have like the men and us and two couples, and we can talk about like really, how you move through the really hard and difficult stuff, especially now in quarantine. Like, how do you get through like being with your partner when you're with them so much more, and so you're working through all those, just all those issues.
yeah,
You have to,
that would be
they
fun.
surface up.
Yeah, I mean that's a whole, like I said, that's a whole nother topic that you could spend lots of time talking about. But I think in the context of just bringing it back to the podcast, I say to everyone, if you have a dream, go for it. This is a perfect time. It's like everyone is suddenly, it doesn't matter what your age is, there's no reason to have any limitations. There's easy access to things we can all learn, and there's always somebody out there that wants to help. And we just have to reach out and ask for help and say, can you help me? And that's how I have achieved what I've achieved now to the level that I'm at. And it's
And
just,
right here, right now, I'm going to link up above to Claire's channel. So you'll look up above and I'll have a link to her channel
yeah, and I have
here.
quite a few of my podcasts out there. And anyway, I mean, it's fun. It's fun. I feel like I'm in this new lease of life it's like being in school and learning, but at the same time, you see this reward and you see this gift where you're being appreciated for what you're bringing to the table. And that feels so good to be reaching and touching others' lives with gifts that I was given. And then to see other women being able to do that through me connecting other women to other women. That is my passion. That is like I feel like my life's work. I feel very blessed that I get to do this.
Well, we're very blessed to have you on today. Thank you so much, Claire. We're going to have you back on. For those of you that are new here on my channel, I invite you to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because I actually, while we're still on quarantine, I'm uploading quite a number of videos every week in this format and others. And thank you so much, Claire.
You're welcome.
Okay, until we meet again.
Bye,
Bye everyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much for being here.